Hello everyone, my name is Anish Sharma and you are watching Kubernetes web series. In this video, I will try to explain what is taints and toleration. A node is a single machine in a cluster. A node can be virtual machine or a physical machine in a data center. However, a pod is a group of one or more containers and is smallest deployable unit in Kubernetes, right? When a user execute kubectl run nginx hyphen image equal to nginx command, it create a pod. Under the hood, pod creation command request is sent to API server. The scheduler is always watching the API server for new requests. Once it receives, it decides which node it should choose to deploy this pod based on various factors like taint and toleration, node selector, node affinity, CPU and memory requirements. Once node is selected by scheduler and then it's sent to API server. In the last kubelet, make sure that pod is running on the assigned node. From this workflow, we understand that scheduler check the taints and toleration. What are these? Let's deep dive into this. Our agenda of today's video are what is taints, what is toleration, how to add taints on nodes, how to add toleration at pod level. At the end, we will proceed for lab. So let's start with our first topic, that is what is taints. Before we start, let me inform you, when we create a Kubernetes cluster, taint is set on master nodes by default. It's a key value pair like labels and annotations. I have already uploaded label and annotation video on my YouTube channel, or you may find the link in the description of this video. Taints allow to discard certain type of pod. It means that when we add the key and its value on node, if same key and value is mentioned in the pod configuration file, then only scheduler will create a pod on this tainted node. Here, tainted node means when we add taints on node, we call it tainted node. Simple. Taints add only on node. Thus, we can say that taints are a node property. A node can have one or many taints associated with it. There is no restriction in Kubernetes that you can only add one taint. You can add multiple taints. To conclude, what we learned from this slide is taints are key value pair. It add on node only if in the pod configuration file these key and value matches, then only you can schedule a pod on tainted node, right? Now, what is toleration? Now the question come to mind that if we add taints on all nodes, then how we can schedule a pod? The answer is with the help of toleration mechanism. Toleration allow a pod to be scheduled on nodes with matching taints. In short, we can say that with the help of toleration, pod will not get repelled from the tainted node. Toleration is applied at pod level. Thus, we can say that toleration is a pod property. Toleration are specified in pod specs. Taints and toleration are the mechanism that allow you to ensure that pods are not placed on inappropriate nodes. Let's understand with the help of 3D animation. We have three nodes in a cluster, node 1, node 2 and node 3. Further, we have added the taints on all nodes. On node 1, we have set taint prod equal to blue. On node 2, we have add taint prod equal to yellow, and in node 3, we have add prod equal to green. If we create a pod on this cluster, it will not schedule on any nodes because all these nodes we have set the taints As per the customer requirement, this pod must be scheduled on node 1 only. In this scenario, we can add a toleration prod equal to blue. When the request comes to scheduler, it checks that in the pod configuration file, toleration is set to blue. So it will schedule this pod to node 1 only, not on node 2 or node 3. Same as it is, if we want to schedule a pod on node 2, then we will set the toleration prod equal to yellow in the pod configuration file. Same as it is for node 3, if we want to schedule a pod, we have to add toleration prod equal to green. Now I hope you understand what are taints and toleration. Now the question come into our mind is how to add taints. In order to add the taints, you can use taint command and then node subcommand and followed by node name. In the end, we mentioned the key and its value. Also, we mentioned the effect. I will explain effects option in a minute. If my node name is node 1, then I can execute this command kubectl taint nodes node 1 and then key and its value prod and then its value green and then effect. Here I use no schedule. And if I want to remove this taint from the node, then what I can use? I can use the same command plus append minus sign at the end of the command. That's it. This is what we used in labels and annotations, right? Now let's talk about effects. In the Kubernetes, we can use three type of effects: no schedule, no execute, and prefer no schedule. If we use effect equal to no schedule, it means that no pod will able to schedule onto node 1 unless it has matching toleration. Please bear in mind that already running pod will not move to other nodes. This effect only for new pod deployment. Let me explain you. Let's suppose we have three worker nodes and we have multiple pods running on these three worker nodes. If we add this taint on node 1, then it will be applicable only for the newly deployed pod. The, the pods which are already running on this node, they will not get impacted. If we use effect equal to no execute, Kubernetes scheduler will evict the running pods from the nodes if the pod do not have toleration for the tainted nodes. In simple word, if we want to move already running pods to another nodes if taints are not matched. In this scenario, we can use effect equal to no execute. Prefer no schedule. If we use effect equal to prefer no schedule, then Kubernetes scheduler will try to avoid scheduling pods that do not have toleration for the tainted nodes. This is preference or soft version of no schedule. It means that scheduler will not schedule any pod on this node if the taint is not matched. But in the cluster, other nodes are not able to accept any new request due to low resources or any hardware issue. Then scheduler will create a pod on this tainted node. Or simply you can remember that if we use this effect, then scheduler will schedule the pod if the taint is not matched, but at the last resort. If there is any hardware issue or some resource crunches, then your pod will not get die. I hope now you understand which effect I should use. Actually, it totally depends upon the case by case, what requirement you have. Now we understand how to add the taints. Now let's explore how to add toleration. This is the simple pod manifest file. Please bear in mind the indentation. Toleration section and container section are in same indentation. Let's explore toleration section. One can notice a parameter called operator, and the value of this parameter is equal, or it can be exist. It can be only two values, either equal or exist. Let's try to understand the operator value. First is equal. It means that mentioned key and its value must be same in the tainted node. The toleration and taint value should also equal. If this is the case, then pod can schedule on the tainted node. If either of them differ, then pod must not schedule on the tainted node. How I remember this? If the operator is equal, then key value and effect must be equal to the tainted node. If operator is exist, then it will check only the key. This is the reason we do not define key value. Value is omitted here. Right? Let's move further. The default value for operator is equal. It means that if we do not define operator line here, then Kubernetes scheduler will take this operator value is equal. In equal operator, the key value and effects must be equal to the tainted node. And if we use exist operator, it matches only the key and effects. I will show you in the lab section, don't worry. Now let's proceed for the lab, and this is the thumbnail that I'm going to use. To complete the lab, I have already logged in into my GitHub page. I need to click on repositories and then click on Kubernetes. Further, if you scroll down, you will observe taint and toleration and then click on lab1 file. Now the first topic is how to add, validate and delete the taints. First, I'm going to create a directory and then go inside this. So here I'm going to create taint directory. Let me copy and paste it on my terminal. I am inside this taint. Further, how to check the taints on node. First, check the node name. The command is this kubectl get nodes. From this command, I get to know that what are the names of my nodes. We want to add taints on worker node 1. Key equal to prod, value equal to green, and effect equal to no schedule. And this is the command. This is what we have already discussed in the theory part. Now I have added the taint. How to check the taint is applied. Here I am using describe command and then grep -i taint. Let me execute this command. You will observe the taint. How to remove the taints from the node? This is what we can do. Let me copy the command here. I just added minus sign here. Now from the output, you will observe untaint. Validate the status of nodes. I'm just executing the same command here. Describe. Now I will observe none. It means that this node has no taints. Explore the effect option. Effect equal to no schedule. Let's create two deployments so that we can validate the effects no schedule. I'm just copy here. This is the command that I'm going to execute. It use image nginx and replica equal to 3. Let me clear the window first and then hit enter button. Let's check the status of this deployment. Let's wait for a couple of more minutes. Check again. Now all three ports are working fine. Validate if ports are running on both worker nodes. We can use -o wide option. Now I can see that worker node 2 and worker node 1. It means that these ports are running on both nodes. Now here I'm going to add the taints and the command is this and the effect is no schedule. Taint is added here. Check the taints with the help of describe command. Yes, the taint is added here. Now again validate if the impact of running ports. It should not change any port because we use effect equal to no schedule. Let me check. Now you will observe that ports are running on node 1 and node 2. It means that this effect does not impact the current running ports. Add one more effects, that is no execute on worker node 2. Here this time I am using worker node 2 and the effect is no execute. Now if I execute this command, you will observe that there is only worker node 1 and for worker node 2 it is showing pending here. It means that these ports are exit from worker node 2 nodes. Check the taint worker node 2. It says it is no execute. Remove the taints from the worker node 2. Here I am using minus option here. Now it is untaint. Let me execute this command again. Kubectl get pod minus o white. Now I can see that ports are running on worker node 2 also. Add one more effect, that is prefer no schedule on worker node 2. Let me copy. Taint is added here. Now if I execute this command, I will observe no changes. Thus, what we learned from this lab is no schedule and prefer no schedule effect do not impact the existing pods. However, no execute effect will move the existing pods. Prefer no schedule effect is preference, first preference, second preference like this. So soft version of no schedule. How to clear the lab? Let me click here, copy, clear the window and paste it over here. Let me maximize the size of my fonts. Now it's okay. How to add and validate toleration. As of now, we have completed the effects option, right? For taints. Now we are talking about toleration. Taint match and use operation equal. Add the taint on nodes. So here I'm using no schedule effects. Clear the window here and paste this command. Now the taint is added. Pod YAML file taint match and operator equal to equal. In this pod, I'm using operator equal to equal and effect is no schedule. Key is prod and value is green. And this is what we have added here. Prod green and no schedule. Let me create one pod here. YAML file is created and now I'm going to create this pod. Kubectl get pod minus o white. Let's check this pod. It is showing worker node 2. It is scheduled on worker node 2. But we have added the taint on worker node 1. Why it is scheduled on worker node 2? The reason behind is that for kubelet both the nodes are empty, so it select randomly worker node 2. This is what I have written here. This port can be scheduled on worker node 2 because worker node 2 there is no restriction, that is taint. Let's add the taint on worker node 2, but this time we will add the taint provided by Kubernetes. If we want to disable the scheduling on worker node 2, then we can use cordon option. Kubectl get nodes. Let me execute this command here so that you can understand better. Right now, this is the status. You can observe the second column. Kubectl cordon is the command and then your node name. Kubectl get nodes. Now you will observe that scheduling is disabled here. Delete the pod and recreate it so that we can verify it. These are the commands. It will going to delete and recreate the pod. Now you will observe that this pod is running on worker node 1. It means that whatever the taint we have added on node level and the toleration we added at pod configuration file. If all our values are equal, then this pod can schedule on worker node 1, the tainted node. You can say that. Now let's check the operator exists. Here this time again I'm using prod and value is omitted from here, right? And the operator is exist and effect is no schedule. All values are same. Let me create the YAML file here and then now going to create this pod here. You will observe pod is scheduled on worker node 1. It means that we have configured all values are good. Let me check. Yes, the new pod is equal, is running on worker node 1. Taint not match, but effect no schedule matches for operator equal. Key is prod, value is red. It means that taint is not matched, but other options are matching. Let's see what will happen. Let me create the file here and now going to create a pod. Taint not match, but operator equal match. If I execute kubectl get pods minus o white, I will observe that the status is pending of this pod. The reason behind is that taint not match. Taint key not match, but effect schedule matches with operator exist. This time with exist operator. The effect is no schedule, but the operator is exist and the value is nothing. And here the key is also not match. The previous example, the value was not matched, but now this time the key is not matching with exist operator. Let me create the file, clear the window. Now going to create the pod. Let's check if the pod is created. It is also running on pending state. It is 70 seconds, but it is 9 seconds. So it means that this is my pod, which is having pending status. What we learned that if taint value not matches in port configuration file, then pod will not schedule on tainted node. But these port can be scheduled on non-tainted node. In my environment, I have two worker nodes. One is already I have disabled the scheduling. For that reason, I'm observing pending status of these ports. Now the next example is taint match, but this time effect no execute not match with operator equal. This time we are operator is equal and the key is also match, but effect is not matches with the tainted node. In the tainted node we use no schedule, but here I'm using no execute. Let me create the YAML file of this pod, clear the window, and now creating this pod. Last time we were thinking about that which pod is scheduled, right? This time I'm using hyphen hyphen sorted metadata creation time. Now it is sorted by creation time. You will observe at the end of new pod, which is sorted by time. You will observe it is also pending. What it means that you have to match the taint plus effect also. The next example is taint match but effect no execute not match with operator exist. Last time we did with equal. Now this time we are going with exist operator. Here again the taint effect is not matched, but rest of the values are matching. Let me create the file here, create the pod, and now again get the pod with sorted by timestamp. Again you will observe that this pod is pending status. How to disable scheduling on nodes. Last time we used cordon, now I'm using uncordon and work on node 2. Let me execute this command. Check the node status. This time you will observe that this worker node is ready but disable is removed. If I use this command kubectl get pods minus o wide and then timestamp, you will observe that all ports are running. Why it is turned from pending to running? We have untainted nodes and all the ports are scheduled on that untainted nodes, that is worker node 2. How to clear the lab? That's it for today lesson. What we have learned, this is the toleration for equal and this is toleration for exist operator here. And if you want to support me, you can buy a coffee for me in this PayPal account, Anish Rana 20011. If you like this video, please like, share, and comment. If you have any question, please comment. I will try to answer you. Thank you very much and have a good day to you. Bye bye.